It's spring here in South Africa, and you may be in search for a fragrance that is happy and bright to match. But if you're like me and you shy away from overly floral, fruity, or heavily sweet fragrances, then I have a cheeky and delicious one for you to try. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, this may be just the thing to disrupt the autumnal melancholia you might be experiencing. So stick around to hear everything I have to say about Yves Saint Laurent's In Love Again. So this fragrance was released in 1998 to commemorate 40 years of Yves Saint Laurent fashion. This was a momentous occasion, and the famous perfumer Jean-Claude Ellena was chosen to create a celebratory piece that encapsulated the exuberance and carefree spirit of the time. The name made reference to the feeling of being in love with life and existence, or the simple joy of finding oneself. In Love Again is a fruity, floral fragrance. And I wasn't sure it was going to be my cup of tea in the beginning because I don't usually dip into this category of fragrances. But there was something outstanding about this one, something that made it very characterful and addictive. I couldn't get it out of my mind for years. And in 2018, when I became pregnant and all my fragrances in my collection had become unbearable to my hormonal nose, this was the scent that I craved. I wanted something bright and uplifting, and my husband bought me a bottle, and it immediately became a centerpiece in my collection, and to this day is the one I turn to when I want to feel playful and sexy. It is a great way to distinguish yourself if you are not going for darker or heavier fragrances. It is crisp and quenching like a glass of champagne on a summer evening. So the marketing surrounding the release was playfully exotic, and the visuals depicted a gorgeous woman draped in colorful, bold beads, and alongside her was this ornamental bottle with a sculptural gold geometric cap with enameled faceting on it. It was very reminiscent of Moroccan art and mosaics, and that is not a coincidence. Yves Saint Laurent loved Morocco. He had a second home there and used to spend a lot of time to get respite and inspiration for his new collections that he was preparing. What you don't see in the picture is that the bottle seen from the top is also in the shape of a heart. Unfortunately, the bottle didn't stay like that. At some point, all these more vintagey fragrances from the house got grouped into La Collection and given the same bottle, the square bottle that you see now. And for the women, there is a beige coloring, and for the men, it is black. Oh. It bursts forth with the most zesty, almost spicy grapefruit. Cool, dynamic, and absolutely sparkling. There is also a wonderful snap of vodka. Very cool note. It's almost icy. And there's a lovely apple. Now, I don't usually like apple because it tends to become a bit of a parody of itself and sour down to a kind of apple schnapps experience, but it's not like that here at all. It's a very airy, crunchy, very genuine apple. And then there's a cluster of berries, and you've got raspberry and blueberry, and the blueberry is nicely nuanced. It's slightly green, it's slightly sweet, and it's slightly velvety or powdery almost. And there's black currant, and the black currant is great. It's not just the berry, it's the whole bush. There is the leaves and there are the buds, and it gives the opening such complexity. You want to bite into it. But it's not gourmand. It's important to note, this is not a gourmand fragrance. Then all of that rests on a very floral heart. And here I recognize the YSL DNA. There is a pairing of rose and peony that to me is so Yves Saint Laurent. It recurs in a lot of their fragrances, and that accord, you also find it in their cosmetics that are very delicately scented with it. There is also a water lily, and if you're wondering what that smells like, it's pretty much what you'd expect. It's delicate and aquatic, which adds to that airy quality of the fragrance. Now all of that rests upon a base that is obviously richer, and you have blackberry, which is a sweeter, more fleshy kind of note. And then there is the surprising note of tomato. Now don't stress, it's not a Napolitana vibe. It's definitely something that is savory but delicious. It reminds me of Italy and the fresh produce markets and these genuine sun-ripened tomatoes that are absolutely gorgeous, and they smell divine, and it gives this fragrance such character. I've read online somewhere that some people think that the tomato note was removed from this reformulation. I can still detect it, unless I'm detecting some other incidental accord, but to me it really is a subtle feature that gives this fragrance so much character. There is also a very delicate feminine musk. Beautiful. It's very smooth, very refined, and maybe a touch of sandalwood just to give it a little bit of creaminess. What a fantastic scent. So who is this fragrance for? In my opinion, this fragrance would best suit someone with a very youthful demeanor. And by that I mean someone who's fresh, optimistic, and very engaging. I follow a South African jewelry designer on Instagram called Kirsten Goss. And she's a very successful designer, but she also has an incredible personal style. And she effortlessly blends chic and the quirky. And although I've never met her, I imagine that her personality and style would be a spectacular match for this fragrance. So because today's trends seem to favor much sweeter fragrances, this may be a little too acquired for a very young or inexperienced palate, in the same way that a beginner might be inclined to choosing an Alcopop over a single malt. So for this reason, I'd say this is not the best gift for someone who's very young. Otherwise, this fragrance is very versatile, and I struggle to imagine a situation in which it would be inappropriate. I personally like to wear it to a chic luncheon or traveling business class or any situation that involves champagne. So as you've seen from my breakdown, the composition mostly consists of fruit notes, which are invariably short-lived. All things considered though, this fragrance does really well. The opening is bright and expansive and leaves a distinct trail for the first hour. After that, it settles to a more intimate cloud that is detectable at about arm's length. And after about 4 hours, it settles down to a skin scent. And for that reason, I like to carry a bottle in my handbag and just reapply. There are ways to extend the experience, and that is by spraying over a neutral lotion. And I also like to spray on skin, but also the hair and clothes. So I really hope you enjoyed this video today. It's a very exciting experience to talk about things that I'm so passionate about. I also hope you enjoyed the ambient roadworks that have been a little challenging. And if you enjoyed it, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll take this forward with a lot of energy. Hope to see you soon, and thank you for watching. Bye.